Hello everyone, this is Ankit Agrawal. Here I am going to explain you all the basic reasons behind the failure of riveted joint. But before moving forward, we all should know about some basics like what is rivet, what is riveted joint, etc. to understand the topic of failure of the riveted joint. So let us start with the introduction of rivet. Rivet is a short cylindrical bar, one of the popular and known mechanical fasteners with head integral to it. This is the picture of a rivet. Consists of three parts. First one is head, second is shank, and third is tail. Basically, this is used to make permanent fastenings between the plates, such as in structural work, shipbuilding, bridges, tanks, from little toys to electronic parts. And I must say, in home also we can see this riveted joint in ceiling fan, in windows. So many places are there where rivets are using. Although the welding technology has now become very advanced, due to which the rivets become obsolete in some places, such as in supercritical boiler, pressure vessels, gas cylinders, boilers, bridges, various frames, etc. So in these we are using some kind of advanced welding techniques instead of this riveting process, I can say. So what is riveting process? The process used to join two plates together with the help of rivet is known as riveting process. The riveting may be done by hand or by a riveting machine. In hand riveting, the original rivet head is backed up by a hammer or a heavy bar, and then the die or set is placed against the protruding end to be headed, and the blows are applied by a hammer. This causes the shank to expand, thus filling the hole, and tail is converted into the point. So the final shape will be like dumbbell shaped. You can see in this figure each and every process from point A to point D. In machine riveting, the die is a part of the hammer which is operated by air pressure or hydraulic pressure or steam pressure, and on the basis of temperature, I can say on the basis of temperature, this riveting process also categorized into two parts like hot riveting and cold riveting. Hot riveting and cold riveting. In cold riveting, rivet is not heated, and thus hammering is carried out at room temperature, and in hot riveting the rivet end is heated by some external means like flame heating before hammering. This is a clear visualization of a riveted joint. The name of this riveted joint is double riveted lap joint because two rows of rivets are there. That's why it is called as double riveted lap joint. Lap joint is basically here two plates are overlapping to each other. That is why double riveted lap joint, and the pattern is chain riveting, not zigzag. So that's why the name of this riveted joint is double riveted lap joint. This is the top view, this is the front view, and this is the isometric view where you can see three views simultaneously: top, front and side view. Types of riveted joint: lap and butt joint. Lap and butt joint. Lap joints, we all know that when two plates are overlapping each other, it is called as lap joint. Butt joint, when two plates are touching or aligned to each other, then it is all about butt joint. Some more examples of lap and butt joints. Lap riveted joints and butt riveted joints are there. To more clarification, like this: single riveted lap joint. Single means this riveted joint has only one row. Single riveted lap joint, two plates are overlapping to each other. This small p denotes a pitch. It is the distance between two consecutive rivets. Second is double riveted lap joints. In this there is a back pitch. Back pitch is defined as the center distance between the two adjacent rows of rivets. And in the third figure, double riveted lap joint, the pattern is zigzag riveting. In this there is a diagonal pitch, and the diagonal pitch is defined as the smallest distance between the center of two rivet hole in adjacent rows of a zigzag riveted joint is called diagonal pitch. This is an example of butt joint. The name of this riveted joint is single riveted double strap butt joint. This is single riveted double strap. Double strap means in this riveted joints they are using two cover plates in the top and at the bottom. Some more examples of butt joint: double riveted double strap butt joint in chain riveting pattern, and second one is based on zigzag riveting. Another one example where they are using unequal straps in both the side of the main plates, and the name of this riveted joint is double riveted double strap butt joint, and along with the pattern of zigzag riveting. Now this is the topic which I want to explain you here: failure of riveted joints. Mainly four types of failures of riveted joints are there: tearing of the plate at an edge, tearing of the plate across a rows of rivets, shearing of rivets, crushing of the plate or rivets. First is tearing of the plate at an edge. A joint may fail due to tearing of the plate at an edge as shown in figure below, but this can be avoided if we consider the value of margin is equal to 1.5 D. If we will take the value of margin is equal to 1.5 D, then this failure will not occur. Here M is margin and small d is the diameter of the rivet hole. I am again telling you, small d is all about the diameter of rivet hole. It is not the diameter of the rivet. In this chapter, in this topic, we have to find the diameter of the rivet hole. After that, using design data handbook, we can easily find the diameter of the rivet with respect to the value of diameter of the rivet hole with the help of design data handbook, or I can say with the help of standardized data. Second failure is tearing of the plate across rows of rivet. Due to the tensile stresses in the main plate or cover plate may tear off across the rows of rivet. In such cases, we consider only one pitch length of the plate, since every rivet is responsible for that much length of the plate only. So the resistance offered by the plate against tearing is known as tearing resistance, or you can say that tearing strength or tearing value of the plate. Here small p is equal to the pitch of the rivet, small d is the diameter of the rivet hole, small t is thickness of the plate, and sigma t is the permissible tensile stress for the plate material. Tearing area per pitch length is equal to P minus D into T. You can see in this figure, per pitch length, this is the pitch and this is the required length which we have to consider in this failure. Now we have to find the area. And what is the area? If this is the rectangular section, then area is equal to length into breadth. Then if this is the length, then T will be the breadth. So P into T, then P into T, but the resistive area is only this. The resistive area is only this. It means we have to consider this dimension, that is P minus D. You have to subtract this area. this one and this one from this P, that is P minus D. Now multiply this P minus D, that is length, into T. This is all about length into breadth, and that is area. Now find the tearing resistance or pull required to tear off the plate per pitch length is, you are finding the resistance or force. Force is equal to stress into area or area into stress. Area which we have just find out in the above equation into the stress. So this is the required equation for the failure of tearing of the plate across the rows of rivet. Second failure is shearing of the rivets. The plates which are connected by the rivets exert tensile stress on the rivets, and if the rivets are unable to resist the stress, they are sheared off, as shown in figure. You can see the shearing of the rivets. You can see here also there is the example of a single riveted lap joint. Another example you can take for double cover butt joint. Here the rivet is shearing off, like this. Again here we are taking small d is the diameter of the rivet hole. Here if we are talking about the shearing of the component, then we have to take the permissible shear stress for the rivet material. Here n is the number of rivet per pitch length. It means in per pitch length how many rivets are lying. I am again telling you, small n means number of rivets are lying in the length of per pitch, in the length of one pitch. How many rivets are lying? This is all about n. So now we have to find the shearing resistance or pull required to shear off the rivet per pitch length. We know the area, as the projected area of the rivet is circular. It means area is pi d square, pi upon 4d square, sorry, in single shear. But in double shear we have to multiply by 2, and when they are talking about, you have to consider this riveted joint according to IBR, that is International Boiler Regulation Act. Then in place of 2 you have to put the value 1.875, when it is all about, it is asking with respect to International Boiler Act, IBR. Now we have to find the shearing resistance. Shearing resistance PS. PS is equal to area into stress, and what is area? Pi upon 4d square, and stress, permissible shear stress, that is tau, in single shear. When it is in single shear, then multiply by 1. When it is double shear, then multiply by 2. This is 2. But when they are talking about IBR, then in place of 2 you have to put 1.875, and n is all about in one pitch how many rivets are lying. I am again telling you, this n is all about the number of rivets in per pitch length. Last failure, crushing of the plate or rivets. Sometimes the rivets do not actually shear off under the tensile stress, but are crushed, as shown in figure, but are crushed. Due to this, the rivet hole becomes of an oval shape, and hence the joint becomes loose. The failure of rivets in such a manner is also known as a bearing failure. The area which resists this action is the projected area of the hole on, or I can say rivet, projected area of the rivet on diametric plane. Here all the dimensions are same as we have taken in the previous failure, but sigma c is the newer one. Sigma c is the permissible crushing stress for the rivet or plate material. And at last we have to find the crushing resistance or pull required to crush the rivet per pitch length. Then PC is equal to N into D into T into sigma T. dt is the area, D into T is the area, sigma C is the permissible compressive stress or crushing stress, N is the number of rivet per pitch length. We can also discuss this efficiency of a riveted joint. Basically, efficiency of the riveted joint is the ratio of least of PT, PS and PC to the ratio of least of PT, PS and PC to the strength of unriveted plate or solid plate. I can say that eta is equal to least of PT, PS and PC. It means which one is lower, that is the reason for the failure. If the value of PT is lower in comparison to PS and PC, then that riveted joint will be fail due to tearing. So, least of PT, PS and PC upon strength of unriveted plate. Unriveted means you are not putting any rivet on that riveted joint. So, without rivet, what is the strength of that place? That is all about P, that is pitch, into T, thickness of that plate, sigma T, permissible tensile stress. You can easily find the efficiency of the riveted joint. Thank you.